Recording. And share screen, desktop. Okay, there are handouts in the back. They're basically the same as the last time. There are a couple of additions on some of the back pages, just like 4 additional apps that were added. But our main topic today is going to be the best apps, or continuing from where we left off last month. First, I'll cover some club agenda. Our future meeting, our next meeting is May 21st. On the email that I sent out, in one place it lists May 21st, and on another place it lists May 18th. It's the 21st. It's Thursday, and we're in the Baltic room here. And our main topic will be on Windows 10. And at that meeting, we'll also have sandwiches, free lunch, sandwiches, pop, and cookies. Similar to the bagels we got, leftover bagels from the previous meeting there. So we'll have that next month. Then there also is a MaxSig on Friday, April 24th. And if you're interested in that, whether you have a smartphone or an iPad or a Mac, they go through a lot of different topics. They usually set the topic a couple of days before the meeting, and you can get a lot of good information there. Okay, our officers, Jim Holman is our president, Linda Brown is the vice president, Paul Ebert is our normal membership secretary, but he's going to be off the next few months, and Lowell here has agreed to take over. He was the previous membership secretary, so thank you, Lowell. And Mike Griffin leads the MaxSig and also is our treasurer. Stan Miller stands in the back there, is our secretary, and he'll also be getting us sandwiches next month. Andrew Petron is our communication coordinator, and my name is Tom Kreitzer. I'm a director at large. Okay, members old and new, you can pay your dues to Lowell, and if you do have any changes in your email, you're switching providers, or you've got too much spam and you want to start over with a new email, if you change your email, make sure and notify us, because that's the way we send out our notices. If you have any suggestions for topics, you can email your suggestions or talk to any of the board members. We're always looking for people to present on hardware or software that they use, whether it's at work or at home. Or if you don't want to present, we do have a monthly eBytes newsletter, and you can write a short or a long article for that. Members, I think I hit the wrong deal there. Website, we do have our past meetings and slides, and when we record, the recordings are out there. We also have a deals section and our monthly eBytes. So if you do have any question for the eBytes or a tip or an article again, you can send it to myself and I'll include it in the next edition there. Any club questions before we get to the main topic? Okay. Just a short recap. This is the handout. The handout has several columns on it. The columns contain the category of the app name. Then we have cost. Most of them are free. Then we have OS, and that's for operating system. And in there you'll see Android if it's only available on the Android devices, iOS if it's only available on the Apple devices, or both in there. And it's important, if you are searching for some of these apps, to use the right names, because being that like out on the iTunes or the Google Play, if you search for apps, there's roughly 1.5 million apps out there. So Frequently, apps will name themselves very close to other apps because they want you to download their app as opposed to the real app that you might be looking for. So when you're typing in names and checking for something, make sure you are getting the app that you're really looking for there. Okay, the column with the Tom in there are apps that I personally use. I have an Android smartphone and I have an Apple iPad, so I do use a little bit of both there. The member column is if a member recommended this particular app, whether it was from the survey, the annual survey, we collected some information, or from emails, or just people mentioning that they like an app or use that. The last column, site, that's for apps that have been listed in PC Magazine and Tom's Guide. And Tom's Guide's not my guide. It's a website for Apple computing. And there's been several lists out there. One of the lists, like in Tom's Guide, is the 20 must-have apps if you have an iPhone. And then there's other ones from PC Magazine, the 100 best Android apps, and different ones there. You'll see that list kind of at the end of the spreadsheet. I list the URL if you want to see the complete article, and what the B and the C and what these different codes refer to. The format of the meeting, if you were here last time, it's the same thing. You can participate, ask questions, comments on the different apps. We do move quickly. We're not going to cover all 343 apps that are listed on the spreadsheet. We covered roughly half of them last time, but we still have a lot to cover there. And we'll start where we left off in the last meeting. Yes?
Comes with 300 apps that you can't get rid of. Is there any way to be able to list all the things that you want to
yeah, the question, I'll repeat it if people are listening there. The iPhone comes with pre-installed apps, and the comment was made that can't seem to delete it. I believe you can uninstall almost everything except the basic operating system there. I do not recall exactly on the iPhone or iPad. I know on the Android devices you go into settings, and then there's a section called apps, and then in the apps there's an uninstall, so you select an app and then you can uninstall. Because there's differences between just removing it from your desktop and uninstalling it. So some people think after they've moved it or removed it that it's gone, but unless you've uninstalled, it's still potentially running in the background even though you don't see it. Okay? Okay, we left off on shopping, and there's quite a few in the shopping category. Most of the larger retailers will have their own shopping app, and so if you frequent the store there, it's usually to your advantage to download and install that in there. In some cases, you're getting extra discounts, or it'll give you extra information there. One of them that I've highlighted there is I get my hair cut at Great Clips, and I thought the Great Clips app is an excellent use of the technology insofar as this is what it looks like when you bring it up. And what it'll do is it'll use GPS to show you what Great Clips stores are in the vicinity, and then it'll show you the wait time at any of the stores there. And if you choose to go there, there's a button there, this check-in button. You can click that, and what it'll do is it'll check you in and put you on the list then. So it can save you having to wait 20 minutes or 30 minutes, you can check and then head down there when your time's about up there. So it's a nice little app, and more than just promoting themselves and what they do there. Another app that I use is it's an app called Keyring, and if you've got the affinity cards where they scan the barcode to get a discount or to put coupons on or things like that, instead of having one of those little cards and a key ring all full of cards, or having to carry around a lot of these different things in your wallet or your purse, this is an opportunity where you can register them in this keyring application. The keyring application lets you put in that code there, and when you go to the store, then all you have to do is bring up the store there, show them that, and they can scan the number off of the app itself. So you don't have to carry around the little plastic cards on your keyring or in your wallet there. Also, it has the capabilities to create shopping lists. It can also use your proximity. So if you are approaching a Walgreens store, it can recommend sale items at the Walgreens store, and those are all options that you can turn on or off, or see how you want to operate with it. But Keyring isn't for one particular store or company. It's meant to be an app where you can load all of these various things from all different places there, so that you don't have to carry around all this stuff. Okay. Another one I use myself, I do go to Lunds & Byerly's, and Lunds & Byerly's has an app. It's I would say it's not the best written app because it's fairly slow to load and got a lot of graphics and things like that it uses, but it does let you see the sales items for the week, and it also has this thing, get the current mobile offer. And every week they usually have a mobile offer, which is either a free item or a greatly discounted item that if you buy $10 worth of groceries, you can hold your phone up, they'll look at the code on there, and you'll get that item. So it's again, it's a reason to install the app, and if you shop there, save yourself some money there. The last two I have highlighted here, Red Laser and Shop Advisor. And do people use any of these two applications, or? No, okay. These applications are very nice if you're trying to figure out, you're in a store or you want to purchase something and you're not sure if you're getting the best deal or not. Well, this is an example here, Red Laser here, where what you do with your phone is, so there's an item in the store, and this particular item, I was doing it here at 3M, so about the only thing I could find at 3M that had a nice barcode was the Post-it notes. So I took my phone, started up Red Laser, and it'll let you scan a barcode there. So I scanned the barcode, and then what it did is it went out to the internet and it checked on the prices. So all the various prices that were available for this particular item on the internet. So you can get prices. You can also just check locally what's the best price locally. So if it's sold at a Target or a Walmart or stuff like that, Office Depot, you'll see the prices there. It can also tell you related items. So if you're buying a TV, a 32-inch TV, it'll tell you comparable 32-inch TVs or different devices there. So it's kind of nice there. Details would tell you the specifications or if there was some additional details for that item. And then the reviews, if you're looking for comments by people of, let's say it was a TV instead of Post-it notes. You might see, reviews of really good picture, or, oh, gee, it didn't look well with sports or something like that. You can get reviews there. And the nice thing about that is it all started with all you had to do is take out your phone, scan the barcode of the item that you're thinking of buying. So it's kind of handy there. That's Red Laser. This other one that I show here is Shop Advisor. And Shop Advisor is a similar type of thing. You scan your barcode. It also tells you locally and online what some of the prices are. But the other nice feature that it has is that it will also bring up this history. So this is a history here, and you can see in the history, it'll show you the price history for this item. When it was at its lowest, when it was at its highest, and over the last few months, and that, how it's done there. So if you're buying, again, if you're buying a TV or some other large item, you can see, gee, did it just go on sale, or am I getting the price that it usually goes on sale for, or am I paying at the top? I'm buying it when it's the most expensive, and maybe if I wait another month or two, it might be on sale and I might be able to get it at a lower price there. So the price history is very nice if you just want to check out and see what's going there. Okay. And there are other apps out there too. These are the two most popular there. And you're not going to find everything. So sometimes when you go into stores and scan an item, that item may have a barcode that's specific to that store. And so as an example, you get some things in a Best Buy or that, they make them just for Best Buy. And the reason they make it just for Best Buy is Best Buy, like some other companies, has low price guarantee, lowest price around for that item. Well, if they're the only store that's getting the item, they're pretty sure that Walmart isn't selling it cheaper. So they don't say lowest price for a comparable item. They say lowest price for an item. And so the barcode has to match exactly. It has to be the same make, model, and that. And like I say, some of the vendors just make items specifically for one vendor. So using something like this, you may not find a match anywhere else. That's where the related is good, because it can say, oh, a 32-inch TV, I'll show you the price of some other 32-inch TVs. So they can be very handy there. Any other apps that people have for shopping that they use or want to mention? Yes, Linda. IKEA. If you get lost in the store, you can find your way out.
And it gives me the aisle location. Because I'm very specific to what I want in IKEA. I just want to use it as I'm walking, upper floor, counter, or food in my. But go in and out. I jot down the aisle location on the app, and I go into the basement floor right to the warehouse.
Okay, no.
Then you can scan and play with it, some other features for a open shopping trip.
Okay, I'll mention it for the people that are listening to this online. Linda is recommending the IKEA app. It'll give you the aisle and location of the item, and so it can save you time instead of wandering around. Let you get in and out. So no, that's a good idea there. Yes.
Yeah, I found the Shop Savvy works pretty good. And all the number of units.
Okay.
This is a list of other stores, also a map showing the stores on the map, and you can pick the one you go to, find out who's the right prices.
Okay, yeah, Shop Savvy lists and shows you the different stores that you can go to, and yeah, the nice thing about all these is you can comparison shop some of this stuff, and again, I'm not one to look for, well, I can save 10 cents by going over here, but if it's a deal of, well, I can save 40% if I go to this store as opposed to paying this much over here. Yeah, then I'll consider it. And you're not going to use it for every item. If you went grocery shopping and started to check everything, you'd have to do a 50-mile loop or something to get the best buys. Yes.
So there's some all with the barcodes and this little informational things, this where
I guess I didn't catch the question. Or there's a square. The square is called a QR code. The QR code is different than a UPC number. So the UPC number is that long 11-digit number there, and that 11-digit number is unique to all products. So if 3M sells Post-it notes or Post-it flags, each of those has a different number, and that's used, and the box that it comes with is a different number than the individual items, and so there's things like that. QR is instead of you having to type in a URL, a long address to get to a website, the QR will take you to that website. So it doesn't have to be a product. It can just be promoting an event. It can be the vendor's website itself. In fact, I don't have it on this one, but on all the other handouts, on the back of the handout, I put the QR code for the PC Club. So instead of typing the URL to get to the PC Club's website, and we'll talk a little bit later about an app for the QR, because that is very handy. You have that app, you take your camera, you take a picture of it, and it brings up your browser into that website.
I just brought that up. It says a lot of them would fit 504 scan.
Well, the barcodes, the thing is there is, yes, almost anything can do a barcode. It's just a question of what logic does it have? So how is it checking prices? Is it got price history? What does it have? It's those other features. Does it show you local stores and others? Some of these apps will highlight a certain store more so than any store, because they're getting paid. They're getting residual money to show you a certain store. So be wary of some of those unless you're using the more popular shopping apps there. Okay? Yes.
There's one called Shopping here. Which is really nice because you can look at the item you got at home, hit it, it'll read the barcode, tell you what that item is, so you can create your shopping list for that.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds very nice to make the shopping lists, and I think originally they were talking about the refrigerators having things like that on there. So as you take something out of the refrigerator and use it, you just scan it, and either the garbage can or the refrigerator would keep track of what you've used. And so next time you went to the grocery store, you could kind of pick it up. Yes, Linda.
I use in the store specific barcode readers, not these comparable. I go Walmart and that what I call a beauty measure. It's a receipt measure, and they do find differences, and you can have that in the form of gift cards.
Yeah, Walmart. I'll mention it. Walmart in here has an app, and you can take your receipt after you've checked out, scan your receipt, and it'll look through. And if it finds a cheaper price somewhere else, it ends up crediting your account or giving you a coupon, or I forgot exactly what it is there. But okay, we'll move on to the next. Yep.
There's one more thing called by Walmart, savings capture.
That's what she was talking about. Yeah, yeah. Okay, social and sports. Social is, exchanging stuff, and certainly the most popular one there is Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, you'll want to have the Facebook app. I won't say too much more about that.
Question.
Yep.
What about security on Messenger? I know there was a lot of debate back and forth on that.
That I'm not real familiar with, other than I've just seen the chatter there that like you've seen there. Anytime they come out with some of these new features or change the way that it works, because Facebook used to work a certain way, and then they went to another application to do the messaging. So if you wanted to send messages back and forth, and what there has been some concern of the visibility of that. It's not as private as what people think. But then the other thing that you have to remember too is if when you signed up for Facebook, if you read the non-disclosure, you're essentially giving them access to everything that you do and all the information that you ever enter or do there. So in a sense, you've given Facebook, the company, access to everything. So I just assume in some of these systems that everything that I do is public. I'm not going to pass passwords back and forth or account information or social security numbers on a system like this. And that's also somewhat true of email in general. Email in general, if you're not encrypting in that, which most people aren't, you're sending your mail so that anybody else can read it. So there are issues there. Another social application is the Google Plus, and the Google Plus is similar to Facebook. The advantage there, and I talked about this at some of the earlier meetings, for backing up your photos and doing photo storage. It's an excellent site to do that, where you can back it up and then you can decide what to share in that. So you don't have to use the social aspect of Google Plus. You can just use it for sharing your photos and doing things also there. Another one that most people have is Skype. Skype is for doing video conferencing, and Skype will let you go from an Android machine to an Apple machine. So that's the advantage of that over FaceTime. If you're going from an Apple machine to an Apple machine, then you can use FaceTime to communicate, but I can't go from an Apple machine to an Android machine using FaceTime. So that's the difference if you're going to do video calls or video chats there. You want to make sure who you're trying to talk to, and then Skype can be that. Now, there's also Facebook in their messaging lets you do video chats also. So you do have some of these other applications are also adding the video chat experience right within there also.
Do you have any use Lightroom?
I've heard of it. I haven't used it myself. Again, it kind of depends on who you're interacting with, and that some of these other services can be handy there. One you've probably heard of also is Snapchat. Snapchat is one where kids like to use it because if you send a message or you send a picture, it disappears. The problem is once you send it, all I have to do, like on my phone, is power or volume down and it captures the screen. So let's say it was a picture, an inappropriate picture of somebody. When I see it, bang, I've captured it. I now have it on my phone. I can do anything I want with it. Re-forward it, repost it, do anything. So some of the stuff that people think they're protected because it disappears and is no longer out there. Well, if somebody captured it, they'll just repost it and resend it, and You know, just assume everything's public. That's,
However, it's supposed to allow you to make a phone call outside the country with someone else who has downloaded the Viber app.
and Skype will do that. I mean, Skype is used by billions of people around the world. So Skype is by far the most popular. Some of these others are out there. You also have options in Skype and some of those. If the other person doesn't have a computer, you can have it dial a telephone number. So I can be on my PC and I can be talking to somebody on their phone. So there's different ways of doing that. Depending on how you're connecting, then in some of these packages you buy minutes, so many minutes of telephone service. And depending if you're going outside the United States, if it's not between somebody using Skype on their phone to another person using Skype on their phone, that's always going to be free. But once you start doing some of these other connections, you can get other charges that you can decide to buy or not buy there. Okay. So lots of options for doing that. You know, messaging apps and stuff like that. Well, for most people, the messaging that they have on their smartphone is sufficient for sending stuff back and forth. Some of these other messaging make it easier if you're a group of people and you want to do sending out to groups easier and things like that. Some of that can be easier done in some of these things too. Okay, travel. Lots of different ones in travel. Like the first one up here, I didn't highlight it, but it is an interesting one. Around Me is one that will use your GPS and it'll identify everything around you. So by GPS, it tells you, and if you're traveling and aren't sure what stuff is, this is a quick way of seeing what's around you there. Yeah. And there's all kinds of other ones for booking and that. If you're looking for flights and hotel and car rental and that, there's a little bit of everything to get you there. Let's go. The other one, or one of them that I like, is Google Earth. I always find Google Earth interesting here. This is Google Earth of the where we're currently located there, and you can zoom in and you can overlay the streets so you can see the streets. And if I'm going into an area where parking may be difficult, I can look for parking ramps. I can look for stuff that's close by, or how far is it, or where is this, and so Google Earth can be something that's handy there. I also use the navigation, and navigation, at least on my Android phone, was already installed. It'll give you GPS, turn-by-turn direction, suggest alternate routes, take into account road closures or accidents, so it's real-time updates of travel times between points. And again, it's a real nice little, especially if your car doesn't have GPS built into it. It's a nice system. The only drawback is on the phone, certainly you're dealing with a smaller display screen, but at least it beats not having anything there, and it'll get you to the right place there. Another one that is interesting, a guy was telling me about, I haven't personally used, but this last one on the list, Word Lens. This is an interesting concept. So you're traveling abroad, let's say you're over in Germany and you see a sign and you're not sure what the sign means. All you have to do is take a picture of it and it'll translate the sign. So, you know, if it's a business or if it's something there, you can do that. Or if it's a warning, cliff ahead or something like that, you better take it quick and before, if you're driving, so you don't go off the edge there. So there's all kinds of ones to help you translate. There's all kinds of ones to help you book, put your itinerary in there if you're making various stops and various tours and that. Also one used by 3M here, Ride Cell. If you take the shuttles back and forth between the buildings there, it's a way to get into the system so that you can get your shuttle. It'll pick you up and drop you off. Any other packages that people use or like for travel? Okay, yeah, TripAdvisor and by all means, you know, the nice thing about all of these again is all of them have free versions. You can go out, you can try it. If you don't like it, then make sure and uninstall it. But you know, the only thing you're out is your time there. But certainly check out some of these things, and before you go to any place, it's always good to search and see whether there's you know, things available there for you. Yelp was in a different category. We talked about that one earlier. That's in the search category, and that's a nice one because that'll let you do some of the things with finding stuff close to you or gas prices or things like that. Okay. Utilities. So this is kind of the catch-all category where a lot of stuff gets bundled into when it doesn't fit into one of the other categories. And so as an example here, the first one I highlight is Afaria. And if you're a current 3M employee and want to access stuff within the 3M network, this is an application that you need on your PC, or I mean on your smartphone or tablet there. While the application itself is free, the fact that you're connecting to the 3M network using it, your department will get charged $10 a month for the use of Afaria. So there is a charge back to your department, and you can register and get that set up fairly easily. Another one I use in the utilities is it's called battery overlay %, and this is on my Google phone. By default up here, all it would show is the battery itself, and then, you know, as your battery went down, you'd end up with a shorter battery. Well, I like to see the percentage because it gives me a better idea of how much battery life is left. And all this app does, there's nothing to it other than you install it, and then from then on you'll see the percentage kind of overlaid over the battery there. And so I don't have to go into my settings, battery, to see what the percentage is. I can see it right there, all the time.
Is that an app that's constantly using battery?
It sits in the background, and yes, it will use minimal cycles because it's not running a million times a second, you know, checking. It's I don't know how frequently it updates itself, but it's not, you won't notice it affecting your battery at all. We'll talk a little bit about some of that at the end here, because it is important. The more applications you have, certainly your battery life starts dwindling there. Yes.
Many of the new Android devices have that capability built into the utility in the Android background. You just have to type it every second.
Yeah, Jim mentioned that they're for saving your battery and doing stuff. Some of them have it as a setting in there where you can do stuff, and I'll show you at the end, because last time somebody mentioned a particular app, and I'll tell you my experience with the app, which gets into some of this battery business and stuff like that too. Another one you just mentioned, Bluetooth, is instead of having to go into the settings and turning Bluetooth on and off, there's an app which essentially makes it, one click and you're on and one click and you're off. So instead of having to go into the settings, I personally use that quite a bit because if I know don't have to connect to anything Bluetooth, I make sure and turn it off because it will extend your battery life there. Okay, another one is Chromecast that I personally use. Chromecast, how many are familiar with Chromecast? It's a little device that's not much bigger than just like the end of this tip, and it plugs into your TV and lets you get Netflix, connects to your wireless network, and different things like that. The other thing that it can do though is I can take many applications that I have on my smartphone, like if I want to see pictures, I can take and I can show those pictures on my TV. And that's done through Chromecast. It takes the image from here and puts it to that device. And so many of the applications, and if I'm watching Netflix, I can take Netflix that I have on here and cast it to my Chromecast and watch it. So it's kind of a nice little application there. Another nice application is CleanMaster. How many people, if you have an Android device, most people have CleanMaster. But I don't see people, or Jim there has it.
I tried it and I had problems with it. It locked up my system.
Okay. Jim saying he had problems with it. Certainly, it's not worth having problems there. There's other options. This will go through and identify files that you have. So if you've been browsing the internet or that, it'll get rid of some of your cache, clean up storage out there, clean up old files. If you have old pictures and videos on your machine, you can clean up that stuff. It can boost performance by looking at what's using CPU cycles in there, so it lets you do some things. Has an app manager, so it'll notify you if you haven't used these apps in the last 30 days or 90 days, and you can decide whether to delete them, uninstall them. So it's kind of a nice little app. It also has a little antivirus built in, so as you download applications or attachments or things like that, it's scanning those and will give you some minimal protection. It's not robust protection, but it's a nice little application there. Some of the other apps out here you'll see are different browsers, and so there's different browsers than what you get installed standardly on whether it's an iPhone or an Android device there. You may want to install a Firefox or a Dolphin or some of these other browsers because they either are smaller footprint, faster, give you some options in terms of how they bring down data and things like that. So there's various browsers that are listed on here. Yes, Jim.
Browsers. I've got Google Chrome that I've used primarily on the PC, but I've found a couple of distinct websites where Google Chrome locks up or doesn't do things that if I go into IE, it will do. How much of a problem is that between the browsers and the apps?
It's the same type of issue in the apps as what you ran into, where what looks good in one browser may not work or looks a little different in the other browser. And we did have a meeting for last year sometime, I think, where we talked about the difference in the browsers. And bottom line is you may have a preferred browser. Let's say you prefer to use Chrome, but don't delete IE, and you may even have Firefox around just if you do have problems on a certain site. Because usually it depends on who developed the site, what they developed it for. And that's where you're at the mercy of who they tested, what versions they tested it with, and things like that. And so typically one browser is never going to work for everything that you do, but hopefully 2 browsers will work for you there. Okay. Yes, Jim.
I talked at the last meeting about it. It's called Puffin Free. It's a browser that with my Android, was having trouble with some videos not working. And Puffin Free has a workaround, so you can run any video. So that's one to look at.
Yeah, excellent example, and I think you said it also runs Flash there, and a lot of the browsers don't support Flash, and so if you're doing stuff on what's that? Puffin. Free, Free, and I do list it at the end here. Now, on some of the older handouts, some of the handouts on the top don't have the 4 or 5 that people had listed after the last meeting. So, but it is in the slides here, and it will be out on the website there. Okay, another handy app for an Android device, and that is a flashlight. And so there's various flashlights around, and this is one I list, let you get a little light. Essentially turns on the LED, and that will use your battery. So if you are concerned with battery life, you don't want to be leaving the flashlight on for a long time. Yeah, and I had some questions from people saying, well, why is the flashlight app itself so large? And that when really the functionality should be quite small in terms of size there. And so the concern is, well, if you install some of these apps, you are giving them permission to a number of things on your device. So if you look at every app and if you read every statement about what you're giving permission to pretty much everything on your phone. So just be prepared, for any of that. But the better apps, it's not like in this case, this flashlight is not going to be stealing your social security number and posting it out on the internet, that kind of thing. So there are better apps that have been screened more. Now, if I was to download a flashlight app and I saw that it had only been installed 100 times all over the world, I don't install anything that hasn't been installed maybe 1 million times or more, because chances are that's been checked a little more. People have had experience with it. You can look at the reviews. You can see what people have said about it. So that's where it gets important. If you are just randomly going out to iTunes or Google Play, make sure and check how many times it's been downloaded, what the various reviews say, and stuff like that. And I think somebody I don't know if it was you who sent me the article on the flashlight, or he had pointed me to a URL, and I looked out on the URL, and that's a case of where you can't believe everything that you read, and unfortunately, this person really didn't know what they were talking about when they wrote the article. Okay, I mentioned Google Chrome out here as a browser there. One of and I've listed it before when we had the meeting talking about browsers. One of the nice things about Chrome is it'll share your bookmarks. So if I create a bookmark on my desktop, it's shared with my phone, it's shared with my tablet, and vice versa if I create a bookmark. So I don't have to be remembering lots of things back and forth. I can share it there. Another category there is the Google Drive, and the Google Drive, that's cloud storage. But in addition to cloud storage, it also lets you have access to the Google Docs, which is an Office. It's like a Microsoft Office suite where you can do word processing, spreadsheet functionality, and presentation that. So you can have folders out there. You can be editing the stuff. Actually, I used it for the survey. If you filled out the survey that we do every year, that form that you saw, that was from Google Docs. All the information was collected in a spreadsheet, and then it let me accumulate the numbers very easily within there. So I used the Google Drive there. And when you have stuff out on cloud storage, those will let you share those with other people if you want to open it up to other people, or if you want to keep stuff private yourself, you can keep stuff private. And OneDrive is the Microsoft one, and I do recommend also OneDrive, especially if you're a 3M employee, because 3M is, in the way that it's rolling out Office 365 and other products, OneDrive is the preferred way to share files. And so they set you up with space for your 3M business to store files out there, and that's where you can share. And that's the preferred way over like a Dropbox or some of these other cloud storage that are out there. This we mentioned a little bit earlier, QR reader. So when you see those little squares, it's nice to have an application there, and just by taking a picture of that, it will take you, open up your browser and take you to the browser, take you to the site or information that the company is trying to point you to. And let's go to the next page. Yeah, because it saves you having to type that. It used to be that people would try and use the shorter URLs, tiny URL and things like that. Well, this makes it even easier to use there. Yes.
On the bottom of that, near the bottom of that page, you show vehicle IDV apps.
I don't use that myself. I don't know how well or how good some of that stuff works there. We'll talk a little bit after I get done with the apps. We'll talk a little bit on some of the battery and some of these things that you can look up yourself, because all the devices do have a little capability there. Okay. The last one I have listed in utilities that I highly recommend is this Wi-Fi analyzer. And the Wi-Fi analyzer, and this is only for the Android phones, but it'll show you all the Wi-Fi networks that are within range, and it'll show the strength of the network. It'll tell you if it's password protected, what level of encryption it has, and all the specifics on the network there. And this is handy if you're trying even to debug your own network. So in your house, you're trying to say, why am I not getting good coverage? Well, okay, go to the front living room and go back to the office. Now move your router up higher, see if you're getting a stronger signal, and try different points and see where you're going to get the best coverage and how you point your device and do things. You can play around and check things out. You can also see, well, what do your neighbors have, and is it protected, and what are their networks, and also what channels are they on, so that you may not be overlapping channels, which causes your performance to go down and stuff like that. So when you set up, it's a nice little tool if you're trying to set up your router and figure out what some of the settings should be. It also lets you check and validate a lot of things there. Okay, any questions on utilities or?
So you can use an external rotator app, brings Comcast membership and
yeah, the Xfinity Wi-Fi, if you do have a Comcast subscription, a lot of people, even in their home that have it, are broadcasting a public Wi-Fi that you can use. So if you go in an apartment building, I can guarantee you'll be able to connect to the internet using an Xfinity Wi-Fi connection. because somebody in that apartment building had a standard install on a standard install from Comcast, sets up their private network, sets up this public network for anybody that's an Xfinity customer can connect in through their modem. But there's also, in addition to all these public, private networks out there, there's all kinds of public areas around. So when Xfinity goes into a coffee shop, frequently they'll also expose an Xfinity network also. So if you are anywhere close to that, you can connect to that network also. And to connect to the Xfinity network, you have to put in your Comcast ID and password. You register that once, and then any Xfinity network anywhere in the United States, you're going to be able to connect to. It's available. So it's if you are an Xfinity customer, like I say, it's handy and it's free, and you might as well use it there. Any other utilities that people have seen? Weather, I list weather here. Everybody has their own choices of weather, what kind of maps they like to see, whether it's hour by hour forecast or things like that. But there's a bunch of them here, and some of them obviously may do a little better job than others, but try them out, see which one you like, what kind of forecast you like. Because your other option to these apps are, if you go out to like the Care 11 website, it has information out there also. Okay. And so, yeah, check them out, see which one you like, and because they're free, you know, put them up, try them, see what's going. These are some new recommendations, and the one that Jim mentioned there, the Puffin web browser free, that we talked about already. There's also Google Keep. Google Keep is a nice one for putting notes. So even though it's like OneNote or Evernote, where you can put stuff out there, the advantage of this is this also lets you put reminders by location or date. So what you can do is, let's say it's getting close to Valentine's Day, and you want to be reminded to pick up roses at the florist. You can be that general. When I get close to a florist, remind me to pick up flowers. And it uses a GPS and it uses the stuff, and it'll remind you when you're close to a florist. So it's that kind of stuff. Another one that was mentioned was Runkeeper. That's a GPS. It'll track your runs, walk, weight loss, and goals. So it's something out there. This other one at the top, Moves. Ed Jacobson, he's not here today, but he had recommended this, and if you don't have a fitness watch or a tracker or anything like that, this uses your phone and the accelerometer in your phone and the GPS in your phone to keep track of steps, try and keep track of steps, also keep track of how far you've run or biked or walked. It'll keep track of that using GPS. However, I did go out there and did look at it on Google Play. And I don't know if you can see it. You can't see it too well there, but some of the comments on here, it got 1 star, battery killer. Kills your battery, and you can't use it without GPS on your phone. Seems also to be very CPU intensive. And so that's sort of looking at the comments, you know, certainly you want to do stuff like that. But don't believe, you know, one person's experience. Maybe they had an old version, maybe it's been fixed since then, whatever. So, you know, I installed it on my device, and I tried it myself, and yes, it does keep track of walking and that, and it will show you kind of graphically. You identify where your home is, and then it'll say where you walked, and if you walked to a store or did stuff, it'll say, like I have it say I'm at 3M or I'm at Target or that, it'll tell you where you walked to or where you walked around and how long you walked at the different spots. So it's kind of interesting there. But the thing like we were talking about is one of the things I did is I ran it for a while, and then I went into my settings. So I went into my settings, and under the settings of my phone, battery, and this tells me exactly which apps are using the percentage of battery on my machine. And it was gobbling up the battery on my machine. And so I have since taken it off, but this is where if you are having a problem with your device not lasting as long as you want, go in and look and see what's using up your battery, and then uninstall those things that you have. You can see here that Wi-Fi, in addition to Bluetooth, if you don't turn off Wi-Fi and you don't turn off Bluetooth, they're constantly going out there trying to connect to other networks, other devices that may be out there. Well, if you know, let's say I was traveling somewhere and I knew I didn't want to connect to Wi-Fi because I'm out wherever and I know I don't have anything that I need Bluetooth for, I'll turn those off. And suddenly my battery is going to last maybe twice as long as it would if I left those on. So that's where, you know, check some of these things and see where your battery is actually getting you know, down. Now in my case, I could have left moves on here because even though this was it was using 17% of my battery, after I had been disconnected for 12 hours, I still had 45% of my battery left. So it wasn't like I was running out of juice or immediately had to charge it. So I don't know if I'd agree that it's killing my battery. I'd say it's a battery user, but it wasn't killing my battery. But you do have tools like this, and turning things on and off and being aware of what's running out there is good. And I think the comment earlier too, where you were asking about how do you uninstall something on an iPhone or that. Certainly if you're not using applications, get rid of them off of your machine, because even though you're not running them, they may be going out to the vendor's website, or like Target, Cartwheel will go out there and send messages and post stuff. So yeah, and that gets back to, if you aren't using the stuff, make sure and get the stuff out of there. And it's easy to suddenly end up with a lot of applications on your phone, but you know, because if you're very interested in keeping that battery life as long as possible, limit what you put on the phone. Now on my tablet, I have maybe 100 more applications on there than I have on my phone. Because my tablet, yeah, if all of a sudden I'm running out of battery or that, I just plug it in. You know, I'm usually at home in the living room or something like that. I can easily plug it in. The phone, you know, I don't want to carry an extra power supply around. I don't want to, you know, limit what I do. So it's easier to limit what applications you might have on here to give you the best battery life that you can.
You've got travel section, you've got listed my Belgium. Airlines like United, if you have any similar problems that cancel before but then you can direct access to the website that allow you to look for alternatives. Stand in line to tell you
yeah, some of them will let you, if you haven't you know, booked your seat or stuff like that, pick your seats easier and stuff like that too. So by all means, if you're traveling with an airline, check and see whether they have an app, and that can make it a lot easier. Yeah, put the boarding pass so that you don't have to have paper and, you know, things like that. So there's lots of things that can be done there.
I found another app a couple years ago recommended. It's called Not Yours. It's used by professional fishermen. And you have hundreds of videos in there showing exactly how to tie.
Okay. Yeah, the comment was there's an app called Not, Knott, or Not, yeah, Not Wars. Okay. And I mean, there's so many, with 1.5 million apps out there, there's just something for everything. And like I say, on my tablet, as far as the number of apps I have and that, I've got like 100 more apps than what I have on my phone. But the phone, because of the battery and things like that, I'm a little more cautious on what I put on and what's going on there.
The traveling, let's say you're in Europe, your consumption is only works in Europe, right? Okay.
Well, it depends on how you have it set up. So like my phone's a little bit different, but my data plan, while I'm in the U.S. here, it is going to try and go to the Sprint network if it doesn't have a Wi-Fi connection. But if it has a Wi-Fi connection, it uses that to connect to the internet and do everything. Also, my phone, it will connect to the internet and it does voice over IP. So the telephone calls, I can go all around the world. I don't have to pay anything additional. And as long as I have a Wi-Fi connection, I can talk, I can text, I can access the internet, and I'm doing everything through Wi-Fi. I'm not doing anything through 4G or 3G connections. So there's options that you have on how you do things there. And this I mentioned, if anyone's got any other apps or things like that, certainly you can send me a note and I'll list them in the next e-bites or stuff like that. But there's certainly lots of different things to do almost everything. Yes, Linda?
I have 2 apps I love on my iPhone. I have a mouse app, so in the computer I have a mouse, I don't have to do this screen stuff. The other app I absolutely love is my Xfinity remote control.
Yeah, I think I did mention that one on there, the Xfinity remote control, because I mentioned if you have a spouse, you can kind of drive them crazy.
Absolutely.
Because you can be at work and you can be changing the channel at home, and they'll be going, what happened there? But you also, if you have a DVR, you can be setting the recording and recording things with it. You get the TV guide, and so yeah, it's an easier way to search, to change channels and things like that. So by all means, check out some of these things. And Xfinity, Comcast also has a few other apps too that certainly if you're using that service, check out these apps because you may find something useful for you. Okay, anything else anybody has? Otherwise, thanks for coming. And the next meeting is the May 21st, and it'll be the sandwich meeting and be on Windows 10. So it should be a fun one. Okay, thank you.